Welcome to the ChargePoint podcast, brought to you by FlexiCharge, your gateway to the future of EV charging. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of EV infrastructure, offering insights and perspectives from industry leaders, innovators, and the people at the forefront of deploying charging solutions and networks. Join us to explore the exciting developments that are accelerating our world towards sustainable mobility.
Welcome to the ChargePoint podcast, episode 55. I'm your host, Christoph. What does it really take to turn a network of petrol stations into a scalable EV charging business? Because installing a few chargers is one thing. Building hundreds of charging points across different locations, technical environments, and grid operators is something else entirely. For this episode, I had the pleasure of welcoming Marvin Bechtel from ORLEN to our headquarters in Copenhagen. And for once, we recorded here in the studio, which made the whole experience feel almost dangerously professional. Marvin drove all the way from Kiel to join me and share the inside story of ORLEN's transformation from a traditional fuel retailer into an integrated energy and mobility provider. ORLEN operates around 3,500 service stations across 7 European countries, including 600 in Germany. So this is a conversation about transformation at real scale. We explore how EV charging is changing the role of the traditional petrol station and why in the future, charging speed alone will no longer be enough to stand out. We also get in the less glamorous but absolutely critical side of scaling. Choosing the right locations, dealing with limited grid capacity, navigating hundreds of different grid operators, and creating standardized solutions that can actually be repeated from one site to the next. Because when commissioning day arrives, failure doesn't simply create a technical inconvenience, it can set an entire charging site back by months. So what will separate the successful CPOs from the rest over the next 3-5 years? Let's find out. Here's my conversation with Marvin Bechtel from ORLEN. Hi, Marvin.
Hi.
Welcome to the ChargePoint podcast here at the FlexiCharge headquarters in Copenhagen.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Fantastic. It's very rare that we have guests in the studio, so I'm very thrilled to receive you today here. Usually I'm more in my home studio, not as exciting as being here. Did you drive all this way from Kiel this morning, where you have your base?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I started this morning around, 7:30 roughly. At the end it's like 400 kilometers, so it's definitely easy to go with the electric car.
Absolutely, yeah, with the direct payment and the credit card, as we discussed in our little break. So, okay, before we get started with today's conversation, can you please introduce yourself to our audience by sharing your origin story? So, What did you do that led you to the position where you are today?
Sure. So, generally speaking, my journey at ORLEN started in 2017. I did a short internship during my studies. Afterwards, I went to England for my semester abroad. And afterwards, I rejoined ORLEN in the communication and public relation team.
Yeah, I saw that. So you started really... Yeah, well, like I do communication and marketing.
Yeah. And so that was like the first chance to take on responsibility and also like contribute to quite interesting projects. But after like several years, I had to find like a new challenge, and then I joined the business development department, where I had the opportunity to develop our own customer application. So Tungsten application still on the market,
so
and still like
fueling app.
Yeah, definitely. So the main functionality was paying for your fuel directly at the pump, so that you don't need to enter the shop. And the same goes for the for car wash. So you also had the option to buy digital car wash tickets. Once again, you didn't have to enter the shop. And then in June 2023, I handed over the project to my new colleague, and then I was taking on the responsibility for the e-mobility business on the German market. And from this day onwards, I was like focusing on building, scaling our EV charging infrastructure, developing our own strategy, helping like shaping the future of the ORLEN group on the German market mainly.
Yeah. Has the number of colleagues expanded a lot since June 23? I mean, how many people are you working on e-mobility at ORLEN, if you can tell us?
Yeah, when I was taking over the e-mobility business, we had like one colleague in the team. We were like kind of reshaping the organization, and now we ramped up to 12 colleagues. Nice. We are still looking for 2 new colleagues to hire on the team. One in the operations.
The word is out. If people are interested, you can contact them.
Definitely. So if someone is interested in strategic development or also in the operational part, definitely reach out. So we are currently looking for two talents to join the team.
Nice. Great. Fantastic. So that's your journey at ORLEN. So in-house, moving from the fuel to electricity. I think that's exactly also the journey for those big oil and gas companies. Very interesting to see that. So ORLEN is one of the major fuel and energy brands in Central and Eastern Europe, right? I think operating, if I'm not wrong, more than 3,500 service stations across 7 countries. So, and when you look now at e-mobility, so what role does ORLEN want to play in the future in this market? Yeah,
so I mean, as you said, we are operating roughly 3,500 petrol stations in all our markets. And the strategy is pretty much the same on all markets. So as for the German market, we are operating 600 petrol stations. And our goal is definitely to transform the organization from a traditional fuel retailer to more like an integrated energy and mobility provider. So like providing all kinds of energies to the customer needs. And e-mobility is definitely one of our central pillars in the long-term transformation. The idea is not only to build one of the leading charging networks across all markets, but also to create like seamless customer experience around it. So we are really focusing also like on convenience and digital services for our customer. I mean, at the end, charging is obviously like the key part of this equation, but we also strongly believe in convenience, because currently the charging stop takes way longer than the traditional refueling, and we are really taking this customer expectations into consideration when thinking about additional services to provide to our customer. I mean, this really goes into the direction of retail offering, but also food and beverages is like one of our key products on a petrol station we can supply to our customer, and at the end we would like to provide a comfortable environment where the car is charging at our locations.
So convenience and the service offering beside, so what do you do while you're charging is important to you, and that's why I realized that you're repeating that even on pure hubs where you only have a electric charging, like one of the biggest hubs, and you had some convenience offering. So I can get something to snack, or I can go to the toilet while I'm charging. What's the idea here?
Yeah, so I mean, as said, we are operating 600 petrol stations, and we are also trying to equip them with charging infrastructure. Currently, we are operating both businesses simultaneously. So we have like the standard fuel, and we have electricity as an additional service. However, we are also focusing in our growth strategy on new locations, especially locations where charging demand is increasing. From our perspective, this mainly goes for retail location, especially like multi-point of interest location, where you have like different retailers on one location. It's like a perfect location for our charging infrastructure. But we are also looking for greenfield hubs. And the last project we commissioned is the one you mentioned, is a dedicated charging hub, 16 charging points up to 400 kilowatts. And this is like directly located at our headquarters in Elmshorn. It's the first location we opened in this kind of setup, and we also built an unmanned shop so that the customer can use our convenience offer without having staff on site. So the idea is that you can authorize yourself with your credit card or debit card, and then you will be tracked in this container with cameras, and the camera recognizes the products you will select. collect. And once you check out, the products will be charged. Nice. So it's quite straightforward.
A bit like those Amazon self-serving supermarket, right?
Yeah, it's quite similar, and especially as the utilization is ramping up, this helps us to keep the operational cost quite low because we have like no staff on site. So that's like the approach when it comes to our growth strategy.
Super interesting, very interesting. So if we look a bit one step back, so how does EV charging change the role of traditional fuel station, right? How does it impact? And are ORLEN sites becoming charging locations, mobility hubs, retail destination, or something completely different, if you have to sum it up?
Mm-hmm. I think, as already said, currently the petrol station is changing fundamentally, that's for sure. Today we are more like combining our existing fuel stations with the offering of EV charging. But as said, customer expectations are also like changing. The charging speed from our perspective is definitely increasing over time. So the length of stay will decrease, and if this gap between the stay of refueling and the stay of charging will narrow down, from our perspective, the petrol station will utilize its full potential. Because currently we have the great offer of convenience products, and it's still developing. We have already well-frequented locations. We have a huge customer base which is very loyal to our brand. And this can be definitely one of our advantages in the future to increase utilization on our site. So yeah, definitely the petrol station is changing, but at the same time it's like huge potential for us to leverage our competitive advantage.
Before we continue, a quick note for those of you scaling EV charging in Germany or Austria. If grid control compliance is slowing down your rollouts, you're not alone. With hundreds of grid operators and varying technical requirements, standardization becomes a real challenge. That's exactly why we hosted a webinar on grid operator control and the Flexbox, breaking down what's changing, why it matters, and how leading CPOs like Electra are simplifying deployments with a plug-and-play approach. It's available on demand on our website, and you'll find the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the episode. So ORLEN is operating in markets where EV adoption, grid readiness, and charging density are still evolving. And I, mind you, of course, it's very diverse because it is both the Central and Eastern Europe regions, right, for the 7 countries. So what makes the Central and Eastern European charging market different from the more mature EV markets?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the case. So Central and Eastern Europe remains one of the most exciting growth markets from EV perspective. But at the same time, the markets are very differently, especially for more like mature markets like Netherlands, Nordics, and also Germany and Austria. This mainly goes in the direction of adoption rates of EV cars, but also grid readiness. And this creates like additional complexity because it is like a huge opportunity. But we can also learn from the more mature markets within the ORLEN group and transfer those learnings also to the emerging markets. And this is definitely one of the strengths of the ORLEN group. We have a very close exchange in the ORLEN group. So everyone working for EV charging on all markets, we are also working like in a small group, bringing all the knowledge together so that we can like leverage synergies, but also like accelerate our learning curves and avoid solving the same challenges over and over again. So this also goes like in the direction of standardization. So this also something we fixed together with you guys from FlexiCharge.
We'll come back to that, absolutely, yeah.
So, but that's definitely a great advantage in the overall ORLEN group. But as said, the markets are very differently, and but at the same time, huge growth potential for
all of
us.
them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but can you say a few words? I know you're working dedicated on the German market, but what's the number 2 and 3 market in terms of EV that at ORLEN after Germany? Is it Poland? Is it, because my knowledge is very little on this on Eastern Europe, and I'm really curious to see how it's going. So again, just from your internal knowledge.
Yeah. So from my perspective, the German market is definitely the most developed market. Then there's Austria. So we did the acquisition of Austria, and they were already operating quite huge charging network.
Yeah.
Then I think like number 3 might be Poland and Czech Republic, pretty much the same I would say, because the petrol station network is also pretty much the same, more like from the market share perspective. So both networks are the top 1 player on the market.
Oh yeah.
Or at least like very close to the top 1.
Yeah.
And I mean Poland definitely, Czech Republic I think might be also like top 1.
But that's a good position to start.
Yeah,
if it's small.
that's definitely a great position, especially if the petrol station network also includes highway petrol station, because compared to our network on the German market, we are more like in the local areas, so more like urban areas. We have only like 1 petrol station which is like very close to the highway, or which is like a highway petrol station. We have some more which are close to the highway. So but that's definitely huge advantage for Poland and Czech Republic to really like shape the market, because they have like really prime locations. And I mean prime location is always like key when it comes to utilization. At the end you can optimize a lot from like operations perspective, but if you have like selected a poor location, this will always be like a poor location.
You can't say that, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But definitely, yeah, that calls for, I need to do some deep dive on Eastern Europe, yeah. I need to find some people from those countries. I'm really curious to hear more. I hear also about projects in Hungary, and I'm really curious to hear more, but that's another episode. All right, so let's talk a bit about the scaling of the ORLEN network. So what becomes difficult when you move from deploying individual charging sites to scaling a large charging network?
I think, I mean, generally, the challenges evolve as the business grows. So it is quite easy to operate, 10 to 15 charging points. But if you are ramping up to a couple hundred charging points, then each individual solution becomes an issue over time. Because if you are like using load management, and you will have like 1 load management per location, then at the end you need to operate like, 20, 50, 30 different solutions. So that's definitely key to focus on standardized solution, to have your processes all set, so that you can scale based on a foundation which can like support your future growth.
So clearly, operational complexity is one challenge. What about site selection? Is it getting more and more difficult? Maybe not for you because you have a lot of locations already.
Yeah, I mean we have a lot of locations, but also we wanted to find the best petrol station sites in our network. So it is not the idea to build the easiest location. So where maybe the grid permit is the easiest.
Yes, I was about to say exactly. What do you look at first? Yeah, first the great location.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, location is always key, and but this was also like really part of the first year of our EV charging business. So we really spent a lot of time in the site location. But now, as we have also like real data from our sites, we had the option to reshape our site selection. So the site selection process gets more easily now over time, but therefore like new challenges arise more from the operational business. So the grid is always like an issue. So
did you have to drop maybe a project because it was a great location, but then the grid was just nightmare?
Yeah, I mean that's like part of the business, like on a daily basis. It's not only about the length you need to wait until you get the official offer from the DNO. It's also the issue that you need to drop projects if you get not the requested grid. I mean, there are solutions, definitely. You can go for BESS solutions. You can optimize the grid with the load management. But currently, we are working on a project which is currently calculated with 6 megawatts of grid connection. We have not received the official information now from the DNO, but we are already preparing at the same time also like Plan B and maybe also C, covering BESS and also load management.
Yeah. But to this day, do you have any BESS projects running, or is it in the pipeline? What can you say?
Not yet. So we have 3 systems in the field, but they have like the charger with the integrated BESS. But we have no project at the moment where we have like a separate
standing.
So that's not the case at the moment. So in history, we were more like dropping the project if the grid was not available. But now, as we are also developing, thinking about new solutions, including then the BESS system.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, that's the rise of the BESS with the price dropping and the business case now improving through BESS and the possibility to multi-market optimization, to optimize your revenue, flexibility, trading, and so on. I think this is a really big ace in the sleeve for oil and gas companies, because you guys have great locations. The problem has been the grid, but now there are great solutions which are changing the business case, which this is really strong for. I think that's how I see it for oil and gas players.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one more thought about the petrol station itself. I mean, as said, the potential will be definitely increasing over time as the charging duration will decrease. But at the end of the day, it's not only about grid, but also about available space, because the petrol station is very narrow from a space perspective. So it's quite difficult to have the trafo station on this location, because the charger is quite easy. So it's not a huge footprint, but the trafo station is more difficult, and especially as we are operating together with couple hundred DNOs on the German market, and all of them have like different requirements.
That's
the size of the trafo station itself can be like very huge, even on like small project with only 800 kilowatts of charging speed. So that's also definitely a topic we are focusing on when we are talking about petrol station at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. So why is standardization, which you mentioned, so important when rolling out charging infrastructure across many sites and the technical environments?
I think that standardization is key when it comes to increase the rollout speed, because if you will like try to find a dedicated solution for each location, you're kind of running engineering projects for each location, and to have like a standardized approach will definitely help you to be more efficient and also to speed up the rollout process. And I mean, when it comes to the competition in the market, speed is definitely a key when it comes to securing great locations, because I mean, there are like locations all over the place, and they are always like deploying new charging points. And that's also like our approach to secure a location and to build like some kind of advantage to keep the competitors out of this region.
Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely, yeah. So when ORLEN started working with FlexiCharge and selected the Flexbox, this hardware solution, what problem were you mainly trying to solve?
The main idea was to solve the issue that we had to find one solution which will work for all DNOs on the German market. Because in earlier projects, we were working with solutions. They were always like dedicated for one grid operator, and this is quite difficult to train your partner network on this solution, to train also like my team on this solution. And so we also had to run the negotiation process over and over again with the DNOs.
Yeah.
And now, as we have found like one solution for all DNOs, the idea is to integrate this product into our supply chain, with integrated directly in the configuration of our truffle station, so that the process is quite clear for the DNO, but also for the truffle supplier, and also like for my operations team. And same goes also for the contractors, so like the companies who are doing the
EPC, as we call them, like a TSG and
definitely. So that's also key, to train them on the solution, so that everyone knows about the solution, how it works, and how the commissioning will go, because the worst is if the commissioning will fail. So, I mean, it's quite difficult to have the DNO on site for the commissioning, and if this will fail, then you need to ask for a new
that sets you back months, right?
So that's definitely a key. So that's the highest priority, to have like a standardized solution.
To pass the exam when on the day of the exam, right? The commissioning. Yeah, very clear. Fantastic. And was there any particular reason in the process for selecting the standardization solution that convinced you in particular to select the Flexbox, if you think back about the process?
I'm not sure if there was like one topic which convinced us. I think it's more like the mixture of all. So we were like very happy about the communication itself. I think that the hardware product is quite well built. The software is also quite well. So I mean, I've just checked the Harmony platform yesterday, because we were talking to a colleague about one location which will currently go live, and the Flexbox is already installed. And I think it's like pretty straightforward from the operational perspective. And I mean, that's also key, to keep the process simple and straightforward, especially if you are like ramping up the charging infrastructure. I mean, currently we have 3 operations manager in my team, and they need to operate the whole network. So that's would be not possible if you need to log into, I don't know, 5 different solutions. So there should be like one where you need to configure. And I mean, to be very honest, if the Flexbox is configured and everything is set, then it's like mainly up and running, and you don't need to go in the system again. Yeah,
plug and play. That's kind of the vision. Yeah. Great. So let's look a bit ahead for this last part of the conversation. So in the next 6 to 12 months, so what are you mostly focusing on as you keep rolling out? Is it securing new location, keeping uptime high, redesigning the tech stack, best dynamic tariffs? What can you tell us?
I think that the pipeline is always key. I mean, to have new projects in the pipeline is definitely one of our focus points. But we are also focusing on the operational excellence. So this mainly goes into the direction of keeping a customer-centric approach, so really focusing on optimizing the customer journey on our location, so that the customer will always experience the same charging experience at the ORLEN Charge location. Price is definitely also one of our focus points at the moment. So currently we are really pushing for the direct pay price. From my perspective, we are quite competitive currently with our offering of 49 cents per kilowatt hour. But it's definitely something we would like to also improve, to have a better communication to our end customer. So I mean, you talked about the location in Elmshorn, where we have the kind of traditional fuel price totem converted to an EV charging hub location, where we are also providing information about the available charging speed, but also charging points available, and obviously the price. But it's only like a local kind of communication method, but we are also like currently checking for digital solutions locations to kind of communicate our offer to the end customer, and this also goes in the direction of dynamic pricing. So it's definitely the approach to have a dynamic price on our locations, not only to kind of increase utilization, but also to optimize the location like itself. Because I mean, when you are selling like more electricity, the price we are paying per kilowatt hour will also like decrease, which will at the end result in a lower end customer price. And that's definitely our approach when it comes to the pricing.
A win-win, as we say, yeah. And what about BESS? One of our favorite topics, so I have to ask again. Anything, is it also part of the projects to look at BESS solution in the 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. I think currently, if we have the offer, or like not the offer, but the option to power our charging infrastructure from the grid, then that's definitely our like standard approach at the moment. But as said, some projects they definitely need to include BESS system, and especially if we are like combining charging infrastructure maybe also with photovoltaic, then this really comes in handy. So that's definitely also on the agenda. As said, the project we are currently planning, this will definitely also include the BESS
Great.
system.
Yeah, it looks like a busy 6 to 12 months. That's why you need some new colleagues also. I can hear that, yeah. So let's look a bit further away. So if you're looking 3-5 years ahead, what will separate the successful CPOs from the rest? What's your take?
I think that in the next 3 to 5 years, the overall market will become more competitive and also like more professionalized. I think that the early phase was simply installing chargers, and now with like the knowledge from today, I think some decisions have been taken differently. So I think that locations will remain one of the most important success factors for one location, because the best technology cannot fully compensate for a poor location, as already said. I think that the charging operator needs to be where the customer really needs the electricity. So where they are like naturally traveling. Is it like a shopping center? Is it like petrol station? Or is it also like close to the highway? At the same time, I think that the charging speed will be less of a differentiator, because everyone is like increasing charging speed. Everyone is deploying 400 kV. No one is really deploying 150 or 50 kV. I mean, on some location that's quite straightforward and quite
in 3 to 5 years it will be almost done.
But I mean, in 3 to 5 years everyone will go for like 400, 600 or even like 1,000 kilowatts. So I think that over time the charging speed will be not the differentiator. It will be more like the convenience offer to include, and I mean obviously also to utilize the available grid. So because if you can like utilize the available grid, maybe also go for lower grid, this will also like save some capex at the end of the project, which will definitely be helpful to be more efficient in the project, and also to have like better operational results.
Absolutely, more profitable and more efficient. Absolutely, yeah. And so let's summarize. If you had to summarize ORLEN's mobility strategy in one sentence, what would it be?
In one sentence, definitely difficult. But I think that our strategy is building a reliable, scalable, and customer-centric charging network that combines energy, all kinds of energy, so from fuel to electricity, but also HVO 100, for example, convenience, and like digital services wherever our customer needs us. So that's like our main approach.
Yeah, nice vision. Thank you for wrapping it up. Marvin, thank you for coming to Copenhagen.
Thank you very much.
In the studio here with me. Wishing you a safe trip. Enjoy the afternoon in Copenhagen and have a safe trip back to home. Thank you.
Thank you.
A big thank you once again to Marvin for making the journey from Kiel to Copenhagen and for giving us such an open and practical look inside ORLEN's charge e-mobility journey. For me, one of the clearest lessons from these conversations is that scaling EV charging is no longer simply about installing more chargers. Location remains fundamental. You can improve the technology, optimize operation, and increase charging speeds. But, as Marvin put it so clearly, even the best technology cannot compensate for a poor location. Successful CPOs need to be where drivers naturally want to stop. The second lesson is that scale demands standardization. When every charging site becomes its own engineering project with different hardware, processes, grid requirements, deployment partners, complexity quickly becomes unmanageable. Standardized solutions help CPOs commission sites faster, simplify operation, and avoid repeating the same work across every new location. That's very clear. And third, the competitive advantage of tomorrow will increasingly be built around the customer experience. Charging speed is improving across the industry, which means it will become less of a differentiator. Convenience, transparent pricing, reliable operations, digital services, and simply giving drivers a good reason to spend time at a location will matter much more. Looking ahead, grid capacity and physical space will remain significant constraints. We agree about that. But smarter load management, battery storage, and the integration of technologies such as solar could make previously difficult sites viable. The winning CPOs will be those that combine the right location with operational discipline, intelligent energy management, and a generally customer-centric experience. If there's one thought to take away also from this episode, it is this one. The next phase of EV charging will be not won by installing chargers alone. It will be won by building a network that can scale technically, operationally, and commercially. Boom. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a colleague or someone else working in mobility. It does really help more people to discover the podcast. And if you like the podcast, please give it a nice review and give it a 5-star rating. Much appreciated. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.